Shri GBV Sharma, Member Secretary, National Disaster Management Authority, Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain, Member, National Disaster Management Authority, Major General M.K. Bindal, Executive Director, National Institute of Disaster Management, Professor Surya Prakash, National Institute of Disaster Management, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Namaskaram and good morning to all of you. As it has been mentioned, in fact, this challenge, this pandemic has thrown up a lot of challenges. But at the same time, this pandemic also has created new avenues. It has thrown up a lot of new avenues and opportunities. And I'm utilizing one of those opportunities. So otherwise, if I had not been in Delhi, it would not have been possible for me to attend this program, in spite of the fact that I had to travel back to Kerala, my home state. And I'm joining all of you sitting at the Kochi International Airport, and perhaps the only airport in the country powered with by solar power. So I am sitting in the Kochi airport and joining you, because this topic is a very significant topic, and especially because it is part of the 10-point agenda that has been proposed by the Honorable Prime Minister for disaster risk reduction. So it's a great honor for me to be invited to deliver the inaugural address of this webinar, titled Bringing About Greater Cohesion in International Response to Disasters. Let me compliment the National Institute of Disaster Management for organizing this. And I see the number of participants also a great number, more than 600 people are participating this at this point of time. Honorable Prime Minister had outlined this agenda at the Asian Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction held in New Delhi in November 2016. The agenda builds on the Sendai Framework for Disaster Reduction 2015 to 2030. The Sendai Framework works hand in hand with other 2030 agenda agreements, including the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, the Addis Ababa Action Agenda on Financing for Development, the New Urban Agenda, and the Sustainable Development Goals. As you are aware, the Sendai Framework recognizes that the state has the primary role to reduce disaster risk, but that responsibility should be shared with other stakeholders, including local governments, the private sector, and other stakeholders. Keeping in line with that thought process, Prime Minister's 10-point agenda aims to bring in involvement and leadership of women also. It also aims to develop a network of universities to work on disaster issues, as well as leverage social media and technology in all aspects of disaster management. The theme of this webinar go further beyond the vision of the Sendai Framework and envisage bringing about greater cohesion in international response to disasters. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe in a world where natural disasters do not respect national borders, as it has been quoted by many of the speakers who spoke before me, including the Bangladesh disaster, which General Hasnain has mentioned just now. We have definitely not forgotten the Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004. He mentioned that also. It was triggered by an earthquake off the west coast of Sumatra in Indonesia. The tsunami traveled more than 5,000 kilometers across the open ocean and struck the east coast of Somalia. It destroyed lives and property all along its way. The world came together as one in providing relief to the affected people. India, as the first responder in combating disasters, has mobilized its naval resources several times in the past to support other countries in the Indian Ocean region. With multi-dimensional initiatives and expertise, India is taking a leading role in strengthening regional cooperation among South Asian countries for reducing disasters. India is one of the participating countries and work closely with the United Nations International Strategy for Disaster Reduction. India has been working closely with many countries for the exchange of ideas and expertise in disaster management. India's flagship agency for disaster management, the National Disaster Management Authority, was founded in 2005. In the recent past, it has established cooperation with its counterpart agencies in various countries such as Russia, Germany, Japan, Indonesia, and with multilateral groupings such as the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. India hosted the first annual disaster management exercise for the BIMSTEC countries, the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. On October 10 to 13th, 2017 in New Delhi. India also hosted the Shanghai Cooperation Organization joint exercise on urban earthquake search and rescue on 4th November 2019 in New Delhi. As we see greater cohesion in our international response to disaster, it is time that we go beyond responding and towards achieving greater cohesion and international collaboration in enhancing disaster risk reduction. And ladies and gentlemen, it is with this goal that Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji announced the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, or the CDRI, at the UN Climate Action Summit in September 2019. It's envisaged as a global partnership that aims to promote resilience of new and existing infrastructure systems to climate and disaster risks. The CDRI focuses as much on reducing the risk of disaster as it does on relief. As we are aware, in the aftermath of a natural disaster, communities incur greater losses over time during the prolonged process of resettlement and rehabilitation. Keeping this in mind, CDRI envisions enabling measurable reduction in infrastructure losses from disasters, including extreme and CDRI looks at future. Disaster resilient infrastructure would help hasten the process of resettlement and return to normalcy. The CDRI is the culmination of a process of consultations with more than 35 countries. It looks at expanding universal access to basic services and enabling prosperity as enshrined in the Sustainable Development Goals, while also working at the intersection of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction and the Paris Climate Agreement. CDRI will conduct country-specific and global activities. It will serve as a platform for generating and exchanging knowledge and thereby provide member countries technical support and capacity development, research and knowledge management, and advocacy and partnerships to facilitate and encourage investment in disaster resilient infrastructure systems. As of September 2020, that is this month, as of now, 16 countries are members of CDRI. In addition to member states, CDRI has the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, the United Nations Development Program, the World Bank, and the Asian Development Bank as its knowledge and development partners. Given our vulnerabilities to the vagaries of the changing climate, it's pertinent that we come together on building a future that is resilient to climate change. As we work towards building partnerships within our countries at the local and regional levels, it's also important for us to come together at the global level, exchange ideas and best practices, and use them for a safer and shared future. I once again take this opportunity to congratulate the National Institute of Disaster Management and National Disaster Management Authority for organizing this seminar at a time when the CDRI, that is the Coalition on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, completes its first anniversary. Thanking you all for the attention.
Thank you very much, sir, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk about the international collaboration in disaster risk reduction. We are very fortunate to have with us, sir. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. Raju Thapa, young professional NIDM, for his vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.